Hello and welcome to Telluride Real Estate News. I'm your host, Robert Stenhammer, broker associate with Telluride Real Estate Corp., Christie's International Realty. Today we're going to be talking about your real estate property taxes, and we will also have a conversation with special guest Anton Benitez, Executive Director of the Telluride Mountain Village Owners Association. In San Miguel County, the Assessor's Office is responsible for valuing all real and personal property, including residential properties, commercial properties, and agricultural land. These valuations ensure that each taxpayer is assessed the appropriate amount of property tax according to the mill levy that is applicable to the property location. Interestingly enough, the county assessor is an elected position. Peggy Cantor was elected as San Miguel County Assessor in 1978 and is up next for election in 2018. Your property taxes are calculated with two main components, the assessment rate and the mill levy. In San Miguel County, there are 25 different mill levy taxable areas. The assessment rate is set by the state, and for 2016, the assessment rate was 8.24%. The mill levy is your tax rate, which is applied to the assessed value. 1 mill is equal to $1 for every $1,000 of assessed property value. Now, property valuations are updated every 2 years, and 2017 is a reassessment year. Therefore, all property owners will receive a notice of valuation that will be mailed May 1st. The month of May is every taxpayer's opportunity to protest their parcel's valuation and/or classification. So for tax years 2017 and 2018, Colorado County assessors are required by law to reappraise all real property to reflect a June 30th, 2016 level of value. That level of value represents a snapshot of property values during an 18-month period from January 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. Now, from May 1st, 2017 through June 1st, 2017, for those 30 days only, owners of real property may protest the value or classification established by the assessor. This protest period provides an opportunity for taxpayers to inform the assessor of errors in classification, property description, or other discrepancies that may result in a reduction in value or a change in the classification. The protests are usually predicated on a market analysis of similar properties that have sold in the aforementioned 18-month period. The assessor must make a decision on your protest and mail you a notice of determination by the last regular working day in June. If you are then satisfied with the assessor's determination, the tax bill you receive the next January will be based on the value and classification reflected on the notice of determination. Please contact me for additional information on San Miguel property taxes or how to appeal. Up next, our special guest is Executive Director of the Telluride Mountain Village Owners Association, Mr. Anton Benitez. Hello and welcome to Telluride Real Estate News. I'm Robert Stenhammer, broker associate with Telluride Real Estate Corp., Christie's International Realty. Today I'm welcoming special guest Anton Benitez, who is the Executive Director of the Telluride Mountain Village Owners Association. Anton, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate this.
Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you land in Telluride and your role with TMVOA?
Great. Well, I started coming to Telluride when I was probably just yay big. My grandparents have a place off of Last Dollar Road, not the one right here on this side, but off 62, off where Dallas Divide is. If you go about 3 miles in, my grandparents have a 40-acre ranch there, so I would spend the summers with them. It was fantastic, and kind of fell in love with the area, originally from Southern California. And after working in the corporate world for a while, I said, I want to get back to Telluride. I want to get back to kind of just that nice life, summer, winter, seasonality, and so my wife and I actually moved out here full-time. Layla Benitez is my wife. We moved out here in April of 2011, and we built a house, and we moved into the house at the end of 2011, and we've been here ever since then, and we don't have any plans of leaving, so it's been great.
Fantastic. And in that time, I know you've done a couple different things. You worked for special projects with the ski resort, but landed as Executive Director of the very important Telluride Mountain Village Owners Association. Tell us about your role with that.
Well, I started actually doing some consulting, yes, for the ski resort, and then I actually did some consulting a little bit for the Owners Association. I did a couple projects there, and I was very lucky in that they had a vacancy, and I applied for the position, and I got that position. I think it was in fourth quarter of 2014, and I've been there ever since. It's been great. Had a couple turnover of some staff. I've built, I think, a pretty strong team, and I'm really pleased to be there, and I think that the team we've got in place is really going to do fantastic things in the years to come.
So the Owners Association is not the government, it's not the town of Mountain Village. However, its members are comprised of whom?
Yeah, so anybody that owns property in Mountain Village, it's, I would call, kind of a master association. So we have 4 classes of members. We have the residential class, we have the lodging class, commercial class, and then the special mountain, which is Telski. And so it really encompasses everybody that has property. They pay in dues, but we also collect a lot of revenue from the side of a real estate transfer assessment. Most of that goes towards running the gondola, which is a huge expense, as you can imagine.
Indeed. The real estate transfer assessment here in Mountain Village is 3% of the selling price. And as Anton stated, those monies go to fund very special services that TMVOA provides. What is your overall mission and objective with TMVOA?
That's a really good question, because I think the organization has gone through some ups and downs on what they focus on. One of the things that I came here, I said we really need a strategic plan, a really strong one. They've always had a vision and a mission, but earlier this year we met with the board several times, and we kind of refined the mission, tightened it up. But overall, I would have to say, kind of, if you talked about the mission itself, we really are focusing on promoting member communications, education, and representation. So really representing our members, making sure they have the information that they need. And one of the challenges too is not giving them too much information.
Sure.
Otherwise, it could be overloading, is giving them the right pieces of information. And the other thing is the economic vibrancy, really focusing on that. I think a lot of things are captured in that economic vibrancy. If we do that right, that raises a lot of the boats here, that tide goes up, and that seems to please everybody. So those are the 2 big anchors that I would say that we kind of focus on.
The communication piece, I think, is extremely important, as we have a lot of non-resident homeowners who, unlike most ski towns that I've been involved with, have a right to vote here on certain issues. So their education is extremely important. And what I've really appreciated about the communications from TMVOA is they're very neutral, they're very fact-based. You're not taking stances on issues such as the hospital district and other types of issues like that, but you are informing your members of these issues and the importance of them.
Right. We take great care in putting out our communications. As I said, it's probably one of our most important things that we do, and probably one of the most challenging. There's so much going on in this region, both in Telluride, the town of Telluride, town of Mountain Village, San Miguel, and the region. So we really have to take a lot of information in. We have to sift it, figure out what's most important for our members. And as you said, a great deal of our members here are second homeowners, so they're somewhere else, and maybe they come just a few times a year, but they like to stay in tune of what's going on. So we have to sift through it and really come out with what are the key things that they want to hear and want to know, and so putting it out. So, and again, like you said, making sure that we're putting out very fact-based communications. It's not biased in any way, and let the reader come to their own conclusions with regards to kind of the stories and things going on. Yeah.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about the Telluride Mountain Village gondola. This is a free transportation system that gets folks back and forth from the town of Telluride to the town of Mountain Village, and also from the Mountain Village core to the market, town hall, etc. So the Owners Association funds that service, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation or a poor understanding from a lot of people that come here. They think that the government actually runs it. Well, they do. The town of Mountain Village actually owns the asset itself. So they own the capital equipment, and they operate the service. TMVOA, our organization, on the other hand, we fund it. So with that RETA, that real estate transfer assessment, operations run, I'm just checking my notes here, operations run about $3.84 million, and anywhere between, could be only a couple $100,000 in capital improvement to, millions. This year we have $2 million in the budget for a couple big projects that everybody should really know about. We are doing a full-time backup power generator up at the
Fantastic.
top. So if we have a big storm or something like that and the power goes out, we can actually run the gondola. So that's really important. Very expensive, but it's a wise investment for us. And as you said, I would call the gondola probably our most critical economic gear. Takes people from the Mountain Village town hall to the core here in Mountain Village. It goes up to the top of the mountain and down to Telluride and back and forth. So it takes transports about a little over 2 million people each year back and forth. So think about what that does. It cuts down on traffic, people, car accidents, parking. So it's a really great asset for this region.
It's a very green system as well. I mean, certainly keeping the carbon emissions off the roadways. One of the things I've understood from looking at other ski towns, particularly Aspen Snowmass, they have a bus system that brings people back and forth from Aspen to Snowmass. And their cost per rider is around $7.50 a person per ride. And our cost, the way that we're running it, is less than $2 a person.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, that's a huge economic savings. And think, again, I go back to, think about the congestion that we don't have because of all the cars on the road. That's pretty huge, too.
So the gondola is available and open, of course, to the public, free of charge. It is seasonal. It runs during prime winter months and summer weeks as well. Closely connected to that, another service which isn't available to the public, however, is available to your membership, your residential memberships and their guests, is Telluride.
Yeah, the Telluride system is something that started quite a few years ago, but the town actually used to run it, the town of Mountain Village, and actually they had decided several years back not to continue that service. TMVA thought that is a great service to offer to our guests and owners up here, and it has just skyrocketed. The usage of that service has just went up. This last year it went up 37% in usage, and it really is a point-to-point service. So a guest or a member resident, they call up and they say, hey, I'd like a pickup here at this address, and I'm going to the core because I'm going to go to dinner or I'm going to go skiing, and they'll pick them up within 8 minutes. We have some very strict criteria and take them to their destination, and it's, again, provides a really streamlined transportation within the town of Mountain Village. And they'll come back from dinner, they'll stop here at Blue Mesa, call, and take them home. So it's just a great service. So if somebody's renting their home here and their guests are staying here, that's a big selling point for a lot of people renting their homes on VRBO or in that gray market. Very important.
Sure, and residents who may live in the outskirts of Mountain Village or up on Benchmark or some of those areas can utilize the Telluride service to take them to the gondola that gets them to the town of Telluride and back, and they're not driving and they're not paying a dime for this
Never
directly.
Have to go into the So we do have some limits on that, and I want to make that clear. But hardly anybody ever hits those limits. So for each season, a member, a specific member, so it's by address, they can do 225 rides. So that's quite a bit of rides.
Quite a bit. You bet.
And I think this last summer we only had one address that went over that, and it was only by a few. So
the vehicles that you're using for Telluride are mostly new Mercedes manufactured Sprinter vans, which are fantastic for large groups. Having ridden in them and driven one of them, they drive like a golf cart. The turning radius is incredible, but the panorama in these vehicles as you're using this service is just incredible and really showcases Mountain Village. A fantastic real estate amenity here in Mountain Village, Telluride and the Telluride gondola.
Let me just echo on that point. I mean, we've heard a lot ever since Telluride Concierge got these new Sprinter vans. We've heard a lot of positive things about them because you said they're almost all windows, but you don't even have to duck your head to get in. I mean, you get straight in, and especially if you've got a large family and you've got 7 people in it, it's fun to go all in one vehicle down to the mountain. Everybody puts their ski gear in, and it's exciting. So that vehicle has really done well, and our members really appreciate that.
Thank you for providing such a valuable service. Let's
you.
switch gears and talk a little bit about the Mountain Village economy, and we're talking specifically about the town of Mountain Village. Anton, you tracked the Mountain Village economy, and what data are you using? The channels of data, how are you getting your measurements?
Yeah, there's so much data out there, and I am an analyst at heart. I mean, I love graphs, I love getting into the data, And so one of the things I found that's probably the most easiest to digest and make sense of is total revenue that's reported by the town of Mountain Village. So every month they provide data.
This is tax revenue.
This is tax revenue. Well, they provide two things. They would
Okay.
provide a report that has total revenue, for example, lodging, total revenue, and based on that total revenue, they collect a tax, and they talk about here's what total revenue was, and here's the tax that the Mountain Village collected. So typically, I use the total revenue,
I see.
which as the base.
Okay.
So I look at lodging. I look at restaurant, retail, and groceries, and what is there? One more I think I'm looking at.
The real estate transfer
And
assessment
restaurant. Restaurant, very important.
Indeed.
Yeah. So and when you look at those all together, it really provides a good understanding of kind of the local economy. Now, our economy is much different than other towns, so because we're a ski town. So you really have to break it down to two seasons, summer and winter. And so I look at those and I track them, season over season. So that's probably the best way to look at it, in my personal opinion.
And you have data through the third quarter of
I do.
2016?
So as I look at lodging, for example, if you look at the winter, so winter of 2015, starting November through April, and then summer, May through October, lodging in this last season was actually flat to down by 1%. So winter was a little surprising to me. However, summer was huge. Probably one of our best summers ever as a destination. So summer lodging, if I just look at lodging in the town of Mountain Village, was up 19%.
Wow.
That is huge. And
Yes.
probably more importantly, as you look at it increase, is you see every single year that graph going up. So it's not a blip, that one-time blip. So lodging was up great. If we look at retail was also up. Retail for last winter was up 5%, and again, really, really strong summer, up 18%.
These are the retail stores, the shops in Mountain Village, the ski shops. What else? We have some art. We have some art galleries.
Yeah. So anybody that has
we have a dog spa.
yeah, the Soggy Dog, they do great. So all of those combine into that total revenue and that increase. The other one, and this is something that the town of Mountain Village has kind of struggled a little bit with, we clearly have some very, very great restaurants here, but not as many restaurants as the town of Telluride. But this last winter, restaurants was up 10%, and again, very strong summer. The restaurants in Mountain Village were up 17%. That's huge. And again,
Fantastic.
as you look at the graphs, it's 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. So it's not a blip. It's continual incremental growth. So that's fantastic.
And we've seen summers in the mountain resort industry really having a strong advantage as more people are flocking to the cooler weather for the hiking, for the waterfalls, for the wildflowers. And when you look at the 5-year master plan for the resort on additional mountain bike trails for the summer, some zip tours, etc., I see that trend continuing. I think the demand is going to be great in the summertime as we go forward.
And extending the seasons too. We talk about growing the seasons. It's great to be able to grow. Some of the peak times we're not going to be able to grow, but some of the softer periods within those seasons we're starting to grow. And actually growing the season, I think Cars and Colors has really
Fantastic event.
started to extend the summer and really take advantage of this beautiful location and some of the colors of the leaves. And that's why some of the lodging in that September timeframe, restaurants, retail have up. More people are coming during those times, really extending the season. So
it's my favorite time of year, and the tourism board has done a fantastic job marketing what is called gold season with the change of the aspens.
yeah.
Well, that's all great news, Anton. Thank you for sharing. As we look forward to the future of the Telluride Mountain Village Owners Association, what can you tell us?
In 2017, we're really focused on continuing that communication with our membership. So consistent communication to the membership. We really want them to increase the awareness of this destination as well as the participation of the members. So really getting more members to participate in a lot of the community events, in voting, in taking part in, we have an election this year with the residential class and the commercial class. The other thing, and you mentioned that we talked about the gondola. The gondola is such a huge asset for this community. Starting about 2 years ago, we built what I would call a roadmap, long-term strategic roadmap for the gondola, which we are continuing to execute that plan. So one of the things we'll be doing in 2017 is an economic impact study of, what does that provide to us? What does this asset provide, and really trying to quantify.
Some more data for you to play with.
More data for me to play with. So plans for the gondola, rolling out some plans and doing the hard work on the properties that TMVA owns and what we want to do with those properties. We really want to take a more partnership role with our lodging class and look at and coordinating what can TMVA do to help them market and increase visitation in those softer periods, sometimes within the season. And then really working with the regional stakeholders to try to work together and kind of row that boat together and try to get collective goals done. So those are the kind of the things that we're looking at for 2017.
Anton, thank you, and for what you do as Executive Director of Telluride Mountain Village Owners Association. I'm Robert Stenhammer, your host for Telluride Real Estate News, broker associate with Telluride Real Estate Corp, Christie's International. Thank you.
Thank you.